everybody, it's your girl, Pjamma, with Pjammalyfe. And it's a special edition, and I'll share with you in just a minute why. But today, we have some really exciting shows to watch. We have a reunion on Ahsoka and the premiere from the world of John Wick, the Continental. I've been waiting all these years for it. It's here. But I couldn't do this review without my two brothers from other mothers. David, say hi to the people.
Hey, everybody. Great to be with you on what is a chilly, cold night on the East Coast. Great to sit down with some popcorn and friends and talk about these shows. So sit back.
Patrick, our professor of all things Star Wars, and Tolkien, say hey to the people.
Hey everybody, glad to be here. We got some stuff to talk about. Some really big moves in Ahsoka this week. Good stuff.
Yeah, and if you take a little peek at David's screen, you'll see something special. It's our anniversary! Yay! Happy birthday to Pjammalyfe! We're celebrating our 3rd anniversary. Woo! All right, let's get started with what we do. Let's talk about the Continental. Let's take a peek.
A suit doesn't make a man. It's what's inside the suit that counts. It's resourcefulness and perhaps an open heart.
Well, what are you waiting for?
This sacred institution wields power beyond your imagination. Find him, because if you don't, I'll bring the weight of this whole institution down on you both. Sharon, show our guests the door.
We made a big mistake coming here.
You're my brother, Frankie. We have to strike first.
Wow, there it is. It's finally here from the world of John Wick. And it's the prequel story of Winston in the Continental. Patrick, what did you think?
Well, in this latest installment of The Matrix, I really loved it. It looked just like The Matrix.
It does not look anything
The only thing that didn't happen was they couldn't climb walls and jump things and dodge bullets. But, I guess he didn't actually dodge bullets, but yeah, he dodged bullets. So they didn't make it look like he was dodging. He just couldn't get hit. I
don't even know where
I want to like it. I want to like it a lot more than I do. I mean, the action sequences are well done. The style is consistent, but the style is where I'm seeing The Matrix. The dark, heavily sepia tone greens for everything. The kind of the brownish for all the interior scenes. Poorly lit, always a little bit dirty. It really feels very Matrixy on the visuals. I thought the unrealistic action sequences are just as Matrixy as anything in the Matrix, except they don't run up walls, and there's not quite as much leather, which is kind of disappointing. Just saying. Anyway, so
ew, I don't want to know that about you.
It was okay. It's just I was not blown away by. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was fine. I don't know that it was necessary. I don't know. Just like John Wick 3 and 4 were like,
awesome.
Just another way to make money, and I get that, but they weren't that great. So anyway, and I love Keanu Reeves. I do, man. The guy's is one of the he's the Dolly Parton of the film industry. I'm just telling you. As far as a super nice guy, always just a regular dude, still does things with regular people.
Yeah.
What are you making that face for? He does.
No, I said yeah.
Oh, well, you're making his face like you just ate a bug. So I
am. I'm listening to this bug-written review.
It just felt
Yeah.
Anyway,
David,
so it
what did
wasn't
you think?
spectacular. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't great.
Okay. David, what did you think?
Well, when I first heard Continental, I thought breakfast, hotel, and airline.
Or
But
car.
then, or what?
Or car.
There is, yes, the car. But I was thoroughly surprised with this being the world of John Wick. It was a good shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the John Wick series in general.
Oh my God.
Uh, so but
So wrong.
it was fine. It was fine. It was a good shoot 'em
Oh.
up. It was a good thing to watch on a Friday night, on a Saturday morning when it was too wet and cold really to want to go out and walk Oscar. But it was fine.
Oh, you two. Wrong. This was incredible and awesome. It was shot like a movie, so you're getting like movie quality cinematography. The story was really interesting. If you really love John Wick the way I love John Wick, this was interesting to tell the tale of how the Continental under Winston's watch came to be. And that's what I wanted to know. And the action was really top drawer, particularly seeing that this is a TV show, that they really just treated it. I felt like just treated it like a movie. And some of the visuals were just incredible when Francis was standing on top of the building and the helicopter was behind. I mean, that was just pure cinema. And the fight with what's her name? Ren, the Francis's wife. I mean, that was an incredible fight scene in the kitchen, and she did some moves I hadn't even seen before, and I was like, yes, I'm here for it. All the bits of it. I want to see more. I'm sad that Lance Reddick is not in it because he was just such a pivotal character and gave real heart to the movies. And his passing this year is just sad. And I just really enjoyed it. So if you definitely like action on, I'm just going to say action on 9 instead of 10, but it was pretty much 9 and a half. And really interesting prequel story. Check out the Continental. I don't know about these two guys. I don't know what's going on with them, but I know Tim Windsor is joining us. Hey, Tim. Tim has been with us from the beginning, and he's here for our anniversary show. So welcome back, Tim Windsor. I love it that he's here with us. And let's check out the latest version of Ahsoka in Far, Far Away, episode 6. Let's take a look. 7. Okay, whatever. Next. Oh, that's right. Sorry, folks. This week got some technical difficulties and we don't have a trailer. So we'll just hop into David's review, our guru of all things Star Wars and collectibles, to talk about this episode. David, what did you think?
Well, here we go. This was a day long remembered because we see Thrawn live action for the first time ever. He was the creation, not of Dave Filoni, not of George Lucas, but of an author named Timothy Zahn, who helped kind of restart the Star Wars expanded universe in the early 1990s. This great first villain to take place after Return of the Jedi was so good, was so well developed as a villain and so smart. Dave Filoni brought him into Rebels to kind of help his show, and now we see him. And Far Away, we've got the connection. We've seen him. We've also seen, for the first time, True Witches of Dathomir, or Dathomir. I think that's how we pronounce it. Neat to see that. And, of course,
that was a neat visual.
That was great to see them, the mothers. And we also get to see, well, two things. One, we see one of the neatest and most creative Star Wars species in a long, long time, the rock turtle guys. We've had some similar things in the comics, but I thought this was ingenious. A lot better than Apollo 19 or whatever, where there were moon monsters, rock monsters on the moon. But I digress. And of course, Ezra Bridger. Great job. I thought the actors really just kind of brought things to the table. And once again, Balon and his apprentice steal the show. As great as it was to see Ezra,
Uh-huh.
a little bit of dialogue that Ray Stevenson has with Shin,
Woo.
his apprentice, is just fantastic.
Yeah.
One episode, I can't believe we're almost to the end, but it is outstanding. Love to see Thrawn come to life. My favorite actor to have been Thrawn is long dead, Lawrence Harvey. Put a blue filter on that man's face. Listen to his voice.
What was he in? I'm sorry. I know.
Manchurian Candidate for one thing.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if I can hop in, David, are you done with your?
Yeah, I could go on forever.
Okay, I'm gonna hop in because it's gonna probably be a sandwich one. I'm not loving it, and I'm not saying that to be contrary, but the reunion scene was so flat. I just thought that with Sabine and Ezra, I just was expecting more. It was the direction of it, because I thought it didn't have enough dramatic oomph to it. It was just kind of like, hey, dude, hey, sis, what's up? I mean, it was just like so boring. And I was like, come on. And I wanted to see Admiral Thrawn when he woke. That was more, dramatic. Although it would have been fun to hear the boss playing from oh gosh, Living in America. What's his name? I'm sorry, I'm gonna lose my black card.
James Brown.
James Brown.
That's the Godfather of Soul. The boss is Bruce Springsteen.
No, his song, Big Boss.
Oh.
That would have been cool. But I just thought that kind of, I was feeling it. And then it was just so casual there. I mean, this is the dude, she's literally like impacting the fate of the galaxy and bringing in the worst of the worst, besides Palpatine, if I understand you guys this story. And it's just like, hey dude, hey, how you doing? I mean, it was just like, yeah. I was just like, come on, man. So it really should have just been made a live action season 5 of Rebels, just upfront with it, and that maybe then it just would have resonated more with me. But I just thought it was okay. But Pat, I'm sure, is gonna love it. So go ahead, Pat.
Well, of course I love it. I love Rebels, and it was the next season of Rebels, and perhaps because you have not seen all the Rebels and stuff, you maybe not have understood the relationship between Ezra and Sabine as well, where it seemed appropriate for their brotherly, sisterly type of banter, and don't want to act too cool, too excited, or whatever. They were both.
But given the magnitude of what she
being true to their character, though,
but
I had no problem with it.
Just did, and
I had no problem with it. It was true to their characters.
I
mean, like I said, I know you haven't watched all of them, so it's hard. I suspect it's a little harder for you to grasp the entirety of their relationship because you haven't watched all the shows. I have. I'm actually rewatching them because they're so darn good.
I did go back and watch that final episode, and I still was like, huh? You just like betrayed your mentor. You just like did something that possibly is turning the tide to the dark side. And it's just like, oh, hi.
Well, we could blame,
now wait
we
a
could
second.
blame Sabine
Are
and
we?
not Kathleen Kennedy for the prequels.
I don't know that we're actually turning it to the dark side either, because I'm beginning to believe that maybe Balon and his apprentice are not Sith, but they're, I think, what they were called gray Jedi. Am I correct on it, Dave?
Yeah.
Where they didn't believe in the Jedi Order. They still believed in the Force, and a balance rather than a we're all for good or we're all for bad, which is the typical Jedi Sith duality you see throughout most of the Star Wars movies. They're more like more Zen, I guess. We're in the moment. We just do the thing. We don't worry about taking care of people. The universe is going to have winners, we're going to have losers, and I can't make those decisions. So I'm just going to try to, kind of make my way through it.
But he keeps talking about power, and he keeps talking about wanting.
I think he's trying to bring balance to the Force. I think we're trying to finally get around to the whole episode 1 thing where you're getting the chosen one kind of thing, where they talked about the one who will bring balance to the Force, because he doesn't want the Jedi to be in charge. I get the feeling that he doesn't want the Sith necessarily to be in charge either. That's just the feeling I'm getting, because I have no experience with the Gray Jedi.
He's on his own team for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's a mercenary. He's not he's not an Inquisitor, which would definitely be a Sith adjacent, maybe. I don't know, maybe not quite Sith, but they're very Sithy. And he's not. And then you got both. And then he even talks about how Sabine and Ezra were not trained in the Jedi Temple in the way of the Jedi. They were trained by basically Ronin and the old Japanese kind of thing. There was a lot of Japanese imagery too in this episode.
Oh yeah,
the word Balkan, for instance, the Japanese.
Yeah.
And you had the stormtroopers with the weird red tape on them, or whatever they were, death troopers, zombie troopers. I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
That's gonna be interesting to see.
There was some really cool stuff kind of going on there too.
Dark troopers. Was it Dark Troopers?
Well, I think it would be Dark Troopers, but I think there has been some zombie crossover in Star Wars, and I think with the witch magic, I think that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Because that would make sense, because remember he said that we're not as strong as we don't have as many troops as we once did. We had some losses, so they might. I hope it's not a zombie thing. I'm like, come on, do we have to bring in zombies too?
Only if they can.
We already got space whales, and now we've got
space whales that travel through time and bring zombies. That is a jump
the shark moment. It better not be something stupid like that. It better not be, or I will forever be like. On
well, one of the funny things is the show is
Sharknado. Let's have a space Sharknado too while we're at.
Well, we did. It was called the sequels.
True story.
Well, I don't know about that, but that is some bunk.
Well, it was interesting for this show to be called Ahsoka, and then actually in this episode, she was there on screen for maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes.
Wasn't even that long?
With the little conversation with the droid about how a long time ago, far, far away, that
was great.
That was just, I was like, yes, there it is.
That was kind of referential
from the scrolls, from every movie.
Yeah.
So
I think that gave some of us who aren't as familiar with this tale, like, oh, okay, this is gonna be cute. And then
everything else, I thought this episode really hit on a lot of things. Mars Mikkelsen as Thrawn.
Now, you really like him as something about him is not.
He's not as
scary enough, not intense.
He's not as skinny. He's not as skinny as he was in the.
It's something.
I think he nailed it.
I don't know.
He's not an over the top villain. He is the worst, the best kind of villain.
Because I like a sly, intelligent, but quietly vicious kind of villain. I enjoyed that, but it was something. It was something about presence, maybe. I just didn't get like a intensely. Ooh,
You
this
didn't have
guy.
an emotional response to him the way you thought you should have.
Yeah, I
Mm.
wanted that too. I
I
wanted
mean,
to
that's
have
that's
that
an
because I've
emotional
had
response.
that
I
with
thought he
all the
hit it.
other
I
villains.
thought he did a wonderful job. I think you play. I mean, whether the blue makeup, whether you liked his look in it or not, I thought he carried it. I thought he carried it so well because Thrawn is going to be very calm and very sedate. And I mean, when you read the novels, which and I think, and that's where we first see Thrawn,
Mhm.
is stuff's going on all around him, and I mean, they're like, "Oh, we've got to retreat, we've got to do this," and he says, "Oh, well, look at this piece of art. Well, then they're going to do X," and they win. And I mean, I thought it was done beautifully. I've always wondered who would be the living embodiment of him. I think Sam Neill would have done a great job. Again, my favorite would have been the late Lawrence Harvey. I think had that voice of his. Put the blue paint on him with the hair just the way it was. Man, he was set. But I think Mickelson.
What's his name? I think Alan Rickman. He would have been just amazing. I feel
I mean,
because
he's amazing, but I don't think he would have fit for Thrawn.
I would have
No, I
thought
don't either.
because I like his like dark slyness and like
He would have been
intelligence,
too over the top for me. I think the
Really?
soft, yeah, for me, I do think the soft voice of this guy really does a great job. Yeah, I think they knocked him out.
I don't know. Is Mads Mikkelsen related to him in some way?
Yeah, they're brothers.
Yeah, I would have rather have seen Mads Mikkelsen.
Well, he's already been, he's already in the
know.
canon. I think this
know.
guy's voice is better for Thrawn.
You know, it's too high pitched. I just not. I just.
Well, it's funny listening to the discussion we're having about this tonight. It seems like the over the top stuff appeals more to you, Pam, whereas the more
No, I'm not saying that it's over the top where I need somebody twisting a mustache
between these two shows we looked at tonight. The Continental was over the top violence and everything just pop, 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 going, and it was like, for me and Dave, but the more subtle nuance, perhaps maybe restrained interior type of acting that was we saw a little bit between the Ezra and the Sabine, and maybe even between with the Thrawn character seemed to, and I just felt those were good because they were a good fit because of the Rebels. But just an interesting little thing. I'm just seeing that tonight, maybe just these two things just kind of jumped out at me, because the Continental was fine, and I, like I said, I wasn't bagging on it, but Rebels I thought was just, or not Rebels. Now you got me doing it.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
I don't care. I'll own it for what
because they should have just said what it really was a live action version of Rebels, which would have been fun.
Everybody knew it was though, so I mean,
nope. If you're not familiar with it, then when it said Ahsoka, I thought it was going to be
Clone Wars live action
journey of Ahsoka, but it's really Rebels.
So it was going to be Clone Wars live action, or it was going to be Rebels live action, because that's where Ahsoka came from. So I mean, to a certain extent, it had to have been one of those.
I just think that it was not. I just don't know about the marketing of it. So,
well, for better or for worse, Dave Filoni has infused all of these shows with the Clone Wars. They're all Clone Wars now.
Yeah.
Once you have Bo-Katan in Mandalorian, and once you've got Fennec going in between those and the Bad Batch, they're all the same. The thing about Mando that I think made it actually stand out and was superior to all of these was new characters in an era that we haven't really explored.
Yeah.
No one had any trenches dug. This is my character, and you're not ruining him. We don't know Din Djarin. It's like, he's kind of like Boba Fett, but he's not Boba Fett, so he can be anything you want. Right. There was a lot of freedom and liberty with that. And for better or for worse, Dave Filoni has continued with putting it in Mando and now here,
He put
It's
in,
his
he put in, put in Kenobi also with the Inquisitors.
The Inquisitors, absolutely. That's a
I mean,
great text.
it's been in all the stuff he's done, and I
Right.
get it. This is his
Bailiwick.
child of his imagination, and
Yeah.
he wants it to give it the most legs it can and to be honest, it's pretty darn good stuff. And if you look at the verse, I mean, Lucas started all this stuff with a great idea, but man, he was an idea guy. He was not a nuts and bolts guy.
He was not.
If you read his dialogue, the most mocked lines in all of Star Wars is about sand, and George Lucas wrote that script. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And it was, and I mean, I love the movies, but Filoni has done some really great storytelling. He took a established
John Favreau. Let's give John Favreau.
No, Favreau. I would give Favreau even more credit than that. I would say he restarted. He's the one that brought Marvel and Star Wars into this whole thing, because he's the one who started Iron Man, which is the beginning of the billions
don't say that's the beginning of Marvel. Blade is actually the beginnings of Marvel. But we digress. Go ahead.
But the MCU, I guess I should say the MCU.
I get it. What I mean, he's been great in the partnership between Dave Filoni and John Favreau. Have really modernized.
It is, but Favreau, if you could have just left Favreau where he was
doing The Mandalorian,
I think it would have been great, and I think it would have stayed at I think it would have been better. I mean, Filoni has brought in his stuff, and that's one thing for me. I think with the animated shows, they're fun, and he's doing a good job of translating that animated world into the live action world. But some of those pieces, for me, man, they could have just stayed in those periods. Again, Order 66 was Order 33. Everybody survived, if you didn't see them die in Revenge of the Sith, they're around. They've opened up a galactic Waffle House somewhere in the Outer Rim, and they're hanging, man. They're doing the Equalizer thing. They're somewhere. Too much of it, in my mind. Yeah. But it is fun and it is good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. It's definitely something that has the ability to carry on and do different stories. And so I'm hoping that we kind of move past the animated stuff into something more original, like the Outer Rim stories, or something that's going to tell some more tales, because there's so much time that they could tell these unique stories. And so that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah. And, something to feed, people like me who's not going to look at 27 seasons of something. So
and here's the thing, in Disney, if you're listening when the strike's over, Star Wars Smuggler. Do a 10 or 12 episode show, and you can even do basically mini pilots of different stories of groups of smugglers doing their thing. They're fighting with the Jedi or in the Empire era. It would be a lot like Firefly. One of the things, I'll quickly say this before because we're going into tangent. Yeah. Solo, not a great movie, but you put in Val, Beckett, and Rio. Those are three incredibly fun, unique characters. Mm-hmm. What great escapades and adventures could characters like that have in that galaxy far, far away?
Or even do like a lot when we looked at Star Wars Visions back when, where they did individual episodic things, kind of like Star Trek does, where some of the Star Trek properties where they just do episodic things. You have a complete story in your half an hour, your hour, whatever your time limit is. You do a story, and then they could even, like Dave's talking about here, where you can do a couple stories set in the Empire period, and then a couple stories set in the Old Republic, and then a couple stories set in the post Empire. You could jump it around all over the place and just have stories, and they'd all stand on their own, but they would still be in the same framework that we're all familiar with and we all love.
Yeah, because some of those Vision stories and Tales of the Jedi stories, those were super cool and unique and different, and you were like, wow, who thought of this? Especially the second season of Visions. I mean, some of that, they were a little darker, but so unique, and it was like, wow. But those are also stories from all over the world too. If you look at them, the different studios that produce those were from all over the globe, and so maybe that's what we need
or
is a
different
more
directors for every
global.
single episode,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, or different
Yeah.
writing teams or whatever. I
Yeah,
mean, whatever
yeah,
you
it
do.
was
Favreau did
fresh.
it season 1.
Yeah, that was super fresh and unique. Some of them, you know, maybe weren't my taste, but I appreciated the unique vision. So maybe that's where we need to go next, is kind of exploring those options instead of, you know, kind of rummaging through what's already been done and extending
Well,
it.
you know,
It's
the
great, but
Jedi's been around for 40 years now, so I mean,
I know it's a
and
long
I
time.
love. I mean, I
I
love
loved
Jedi's.
it.
I love Jedi's. I love lightsabers. I get it, man. But I mean, it's easy, and the mythology is already built for a lot of this stuff. They could step out of their comfort zone a little bit and try to do some new
Yeah, but like this Witches of Dathomir, is that what it is? That's different. I never heard of that. And
Right.
I would really like to
Rebels.
see.
That's
Oh, well,
cool.
it was in Rebels, okay.
Clone Wars, Rebels.
But I'd like to see
Video
like
games.
a story
Video games, yeah.
around these witches and somebody fighting these.
Well,
witches or
Darth
whatever.
Maul was like one of their pawns for a while. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened that they were really connected to. I mean, they're accessing the Force through rituals and a different path than Jedi do, where, you know, it's an innate ability that Jedi and Sith have. They're controlling it through other means, which is why they're witches, kind of like sorcerers, and witches are totally different things in a lot of fantasy novels and things like that. So I mean,
it's cool
I love
to
it.
kind of see that and see like other creatures, and like, I don't know, it's just a lot of possibilities for them to, you know, branch out and become something with, you know, so many tentacles throughout the galaxy, far, far away. And so I've been far, far away, and I'm back, and our show is celebrating. Woo! Celebrate good times. Come on, where's my happy birthday party? So, if you like this content, like and subscribe to our @Pjammalyfe, and join us and hit the notification bell so you can be aware of all of our fresh content. So we're celebrating 3 years with these guys next to me. Woo! And I'm giving hugs, 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 hugs to my 2 buddies. And hey, you guys want to say anything in celebration?
Well, I'll just take a moment. Audience, thank you for joining us. What a great way to spend a Saturday night for the last 3 years. We've seen a lot of things. A lot of things have happened in this time. What a wonderful time with both of you. Thanks for sharing your insights and putting up with my crazy, crazy opinions and my wonderful red shirt.
He's reached out.
Where is the red shirt tonight? I'm a little disappointed.
Hey, he reached out for us.
Well, we're at a smoking jacket tonight. It is a
That's right, because he's in a celebratory mood with his smoking jacket. And Patrick, give us some birthday wishes.
I would also like to thank anybody who's watching this. Thanks for sticking with us. It's been 3 years, been through some dark times, and we all got the pandemic and all that stuff is going on.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we all did all that sort of stuff. We haven't any dark.
I thought you were talking about Mortal Kombat, man.
Oh my God!
I was getting there. You stole my thunder.
Oh,
but I mean, we watched some really good stuff, and then we watched stuff like what David was just talking about. That made me question if Pam had been struck by a blunt object to make us watch this. So exactly, that was the look I figured you were figuring out. I didn't know oxygen deprivation. I'm not sure where it was happening, but whatever. I was concerned about you for a few minutes, but we watched a lot of good stuff, had a lot of great times, and it's interesting to get exposed to stuff that you like. And I know me and Dave have made suggestions over the years, and you've taken some and you've disregarded other ones. Doctor Who. which is
Oh,
amazing.
God.
And so, so let's just keep doing this. This is good stuff, and I enjoy it.
All
Hope you do
right.
too.
And I put up with Twisted Metal with these guys
That
and
was great.
along with some other crap. But
It's
you
actually
know
a really
what?
fun show.
That's what that's what friends are for. The
Okay,
good
Dion.
times and the bad movies. We do it all together right here on Pjammalyfe. And as we say, take care.